What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Monday in certain parts of the world, or potentially Tuesday morning, wherever you happen to be. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you see any scam ads on this video, please do not participate in those. First and foremost, we did have some price action today with XRP, essentially jumping up 25% within about a half of an hour. Now that's fine with me, but that is, small potatoes in the big scheme of things here. What I wanted to talk about a little bit is that we did have some interesting things happen today. We saw, obviously, Bitcoin. I'm not even going to say dump, because this was not even a dump. This isn't anything like what we experienced back in 2017. Certainly not what people experienced in the earlier bull runs. This is more of a minor correction, in my opinion. Could we go down further? Maybe. Could we consolidate and alts may run a little bit? Maybe. We'll go over that in a second here. So, what I really wanted to get into here, and this is through LUDNLXRP at LuddenXRP on Twitter. She shared this, and essentially, I think it's this is a she. Hold on. It's either her or her guy there. So, yeah, anyways, thank you for sharing this. This is a video right here, essentially about this pre-trial hearing that occurred today. It was a phone call open to the public for about a half an hour. I am not sitting through a half an hour phone call for a pre-trial conference, but I have seen a lot about it today. Now, there are some really concerning things here. Before I share that video, I wanted to shill this guy's YouTube. He does not need shilling from me. He's got way more followers on YouTube than I have. But this is Jeremy Hogan. I've been following him for a while. Really smart individual. He's a partner at a law firm, obviously. This is his YouTube legal briefs. So if you want to stay on top of some of these things with Ripple and XRP, he is very much so on top of it. Give his YouTube a subscribe, definitely. But this portion of it right here is just really interesting to me. And, they're talking about an exchange going to the SEC, essentially asking if they could sell or, have exchange trading services for this digital asset, for XRP on their exchange, due to its unclassified status. Talking about, do you think it's a security? And the SEC said nothing about them not being able to do that. So it's a really interesting listen. I think that everybody should hear it. I'm sure that Jeremy's followers are going to hear it. And yeah, thanks LuddenXRP for sharing this as well. So I'm going to play this real quick and then we'll move on.
Apparently, what Ripple found out was that as recently as 2019, the SEC was approached by a large crypto exchange, or maybe exchanges, and asked, "Hey SEC, can we sell XRP? Is it a security? So we can't sell it. Please let us know." And the SEC did not tell them, "No, it is a security. You cannot sell it." Listen to that one more time. An unnamed exchange went to the SEC and said, "We are allowing trading of XRP right now on our platform. Is that okay?" And the securities regulatory body of the United States did not tell them no. And then a year later, they sued Ripple, saying that XRP is a security. Wow. Now that is a big problem for the SEC, and I don't know how they get around that, because what changed between 2019 and December 2020 when the lawsuit was filed? Did XRP become a security during that year? No. If anything, it became more like a currency and less like a security as time went on. Now, that little piece of information was found during initial pretrial discovery by Ripple, and it is huge.
Really, really interesting. And what exchange do you think that is? I'm not a betting man, but if I had to bet, I would guess it's probably Coinbase. We know that the XRP community was pretty heavy on pushing Coinbase back in 2019 to list XRP. Eventually, Coinbase did list XRP. It appears, and this is obviously a little bit of speculation because we haven't heard the name of the exchange come out, but it appears that Coinbase went to the SEC directly and asked the Securities and Exchange Commission, the regulatory body in the United States, if they could list XRP and trade XRP. And not even that, but they use that for cross-border trading as well. XRP and USDC, I believe, are on Coinbase, or were. You could do that. So just insanity. I guess that gets into due process and all sorts of other things. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, I'm certainly not going to sit there and listen through a pre-trial hearing because all that news is going to come out anyways. But yeah, I'm gonna move on. So yeah, give this guy a follow. Really, really fantastic. This is Jeremy Hogan. This is his YouTube again, Legal Briefs on YouTube. So yeah, check it out. Also, interesting news. This is from Ashish Burla. Obviously, we know that he is a Ripple employee, one of the higher ups at Ripple. And this is essentially talking about Alex Holmes today, the CEO of MoneyGram, talking about pausing activities for on-demand liquidity. Now, Ashish does go on to share the entire conference call. I guess it would be a corporate conference call for earnings of 2020. This was just released today. This is on Seeking Alpha. If you want to check it out, I will post the link down in this thread here. But they essentially talk about, it's basically a CYA type thing for MoneyGram. They're trying to cover their own ass here. And I think that's probably a pretty realistic standpoint. Ashish kind of does sum it up to an extent. You may want to read the actual thing too, because, you know, anytime that you have something loaded from one side, it is the way it is. But essentially, Alex Holmes, we are pausing these activities just for more of an abundance of caution than with any other concerns about it. We've had a great relationship with Ripple, and it would be great to continue to partner with them. In 2019, we signed a multi-year deal with MoneyGram. This is from Ashish, which is still fully in place. They've temporarily suspended using ODL for obvious reasons. ODL is obviously, you know, XRP. Regulatory uncertainty at this time as a public company headquartered in the US, they have to err on the conservative side. Now, Ashish is directly saying here that Ripple is anticipating a path forward to resume on-demand liquidity, aka XRP, with MoneyGram. Regardless, there's other partners and ODL customers in various stages of production in and outside, and new customers to be announced soon. Everyone take a deep breath. Okay, we've all been breathing for a while now, so thank you for that. It is what it is at this point in time. I can completely understand where MoneyGram is coming from. They obviously have to err on the side of caution. They certainly don't want to be entangled into anything regarding the SEC with their business, who, you know, they've been around for a while now, right? There are some interesting snippets from this presentation here, or conference call, I should say. Thanks, Ramsey, for the question. Yes, we've obviously been doing, this is Alex Holmes of MoneyGram, obviously doing a lot with Ripple on the ODL platform really over the past 18 months leading into last December. In December, they got an early December, they paused their activities on the ODL platform. Really just haven't found a way to get back into that yet, giving a variety of different factors. I'm sure that regulatory uncertainty is probably the leading factor. What has been some of the changes. Now, I'm not going to read through all this because it's really kind of dry. You guys can read through this. I will share this on here. But what's interesting is they ask about ODL essentially needing exchanges to provide utility. And, you know, I think it's Alex Holmes or maybe it's somebody else from MoneyGram essentially saying that, yeah, the suspension of trading really hinders the ability for ODL and XRP utility to function because, I mean, ODL is essentially utilizing exchanges for liquidity purposes, you know, to trade into XRP from the origin fiat and then out of the, you know, it does the swap and then, you know, you have your back end fiat on the back, you know, on the receiving end. So, I mean, it is what it is. There's a lot in here. It's more of a long read. You guys can certainly read this if you want to. I really think this shakes down to just whatever happens with this SEC case. We've seen Mary Jo White, who is like one of the head lawyers for Ripple, and she is a bigwig. I've done videos in the past about Ripple's legal team, and there are some very, very high-level individuals on there. We've seen her essentially stating that October or potentially settling before October. So if you're an optimist, you can potentially look for something like that too. I really hope this sorts out soon, though. I mean, I would certainly not want to see some sort of a market cycle peak for all of crypto prior to the Ripple lawsuit being built. But you have to look at it from both sides of the sword too, right? Essentially, I don't believe that XRP is going to be labeled a security. I think that even that, you know, Jeremy, that lawyer is essentially saying that XRP has become more decentralized from the time that the SEC told Coinbase, no, there's no issue with you listing XRP. So it's just really a game at this point, in my opinion. We'll see how it shakes out. But I would love to see XRP take part in this bull run. I don't think that however much percentage gain that XRP's done, up to 65 cents or whatever it was, and now it's, you know, somewhat consolidated back down again. I don't think that's anything to write home about. I am looking for, like, I'll start to get excited when we start attacking all-time highs with XRP. So this is interesting as well today. We did see a dump with Bitcoin. And I don't even want to call it a dump like I said earlier. I think it's more so of a market correction. If we look at Bitcoin, and it's really interesting because if you pull this up on the daily chart, and I'll be real quick with this stuff here. If I pull this up on the daily, we touched base pretty much right on the 21 EMA, right? Now, that may seem like a lot to you guys, but we have touched base down under the 50 EMA previously back in January. Would I be surprised if that happened again? Certainly not. What's interesting, though, that you really need to pay attention to, because I know everybody is like, this is the biggest dump in dollar value amounts ever that I've seen in crypto, or for Bitcoin itself. That's doesn't make any sense. That's nonsense, and nobody cares about dollar value amounts with Bitcoin. You care about a percentage-based dump. And when you get into percentages, this isn't anywhere near what we've dealt with in the past. I think this was like 20%. All right, so probably right around like 17%. And you look at this. This is on the daily, right? These smaller time frames don't hold as much weight as some of these larger time frames. You can notice this is the 21 EMA, right, in yellow. This entire bull run, we haven't even come close to touching off on the weekly on the 21 EMA, right? And if you look at what we've done in previous bull runs, this is 2017. This is in July of 2017. We touched on the 21 EMA on the weekly in July. We touched on the 21 EMA on the weekly in September. And then we went off into our blow off top. You could argue that portions of these the earlier market in 2017 did the same thing. Same thing with back here in 2013. So it's really funny to me that people are calling this a crazy dump whenever we haven't even touched off on that EMA on the weekly yet. And you can see what it looks like when we do that. It's what did I say, 17% or whatever. When we did this here, this was like a 31% dump. When we did, this is 2017. When we did it here, it was a 37 or 38% dump. So you want to talk about an actual dump and not a correction? And these were corrections we can see now, right? Because the blow off top wasn't until December, like the 16th or whatever. So we haven't seen anything yet. Now, what I'm looking at more so is kind of how these alts are going to react versus Bitcoin. And I believe it's a very important, we're kind of a crossroads right now, right? Because Bitcoin looks like it may be overvalued, at least in the really, really short term. But I think Bitcoin goes up. I'm not trying to tell you anything from a charting perspective. I'm just looking at very, very simple things here. Bitcoin is at some point going to correct down to the 21 EMA on the weekly, which would essentially be a larger drop like we've seen in the past. You can see it here. You can see it here. You can see it here. Depends on where we're at in this cycle, right? What I'm looking for, though, is kind of how alts are going to react to this, because we did just break all-time high as far as alts are concerned, right? This is the entire market cap excluding Bitcoin, right? It's just interesting to see where these line up. So if I even pull up Bitcoin on the daily, we legitimately went on this run, and everybody's saying this is the biggest dump ever. Well, the daily touch base on the 21 EMA, currently holding it as support. We'll see what happens. But we know alts just broke all-time high, right? The entire market cap of all the altcoins with the exception of Bitcoin. Interesting to see where this got close to wicking down to. We can see right here, this is the dump today. Well, it's the weekly, but it's still the dump today, obviously. Yeah, here's a dump today. We actually peeked our head through the 21 EMA. So would I be surprised to see alts go down further? No. But I do not think that this is anything to necessarily be concerned about right now. I've been talking for the past few days. I posted to Twitter, Bitcoin looks like it's going to consolidate or correct for like four days in a row now. I'm not going to share with you the things that I'm looking at because I legitimately use a lot of indicators from another YouTuber. and it's not Blockchain Backer, but you know, I have watched Blockchain Backer stuff, and people talk to me about him sometimes, even on the phone. Some people I talk to about what he's been posting, and some people were in his paid group, and I agree with a lot of the things that he's saying. But I'm not going to share his stuff. I'm not going to share the other YouTuber stuff that I'm watching. But I will certainly share some of the stuff that I'm watching with like patrons and stuff like that. I just don't want to steal anything from anybody on YouTube. So, but yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear that Bitcoin was going to correct. I'm not overly concerned about it right now, but we will see. And I certainly think that we could go a little bit lower too. So it is what it is. I will say one thing to end this. For anybody out there, you know, I have looked into different projects. It is really, really easy in this space, and I am a victim of it as well, of getting into these hype-based projects. I've even presented a couple of them on Patreon. They haven't turned out well. A lot of the ones that I have posted, and if I'm batting 600 or 700, I feel like I'm doing okay. But a lot of the ones that I've posted that have done well, I've actually vetted out. They really didn't have a lot of hype around them. They had a good partnership. I found their use case interesting. And, you know, I didn't buy right whenever it got released. I kind of gave it that little time to do the pre-investor dump onto the market. But I've made a couple of mistakes with these ones just recently, you know. So I'm trying to go back to the grassroots of this whole thing here with even just researching new coins. Because it gets very, very risky. And anybody can fall prey to this with newer coins, because the hype really does take over sometimes. But long-term bags are packed. XRP is there. HBAR is there. Quant is in my long-term, what I would consider more of a long-term bag. Chainlink, Algo, Kava. You know, there's a handful of long-term bags out there that I really probably won't sell. I hope that I can take some profits from these short-term ones. And everything's speculation. Just be careful out there. But do not worry about market corrections. And if you're worried about a 15% correction or whatever this was in Bitcoin, I just really don't want to see how worried people are. I mean, it will be a complete shit show on YouTube if Bitcoin corrects 30 or 35% like it has in the past during a bull cycle. So we'll see what happens. Again, I certainly believe. I mean, if you go by what's happened in the past, you have to be looking at the potential for us to correct down to the weekly on the 21 EMA. And right now, the weekly on the 21 EMA is just above 32 grand. But you have to look at other things too. You have to look at higher lows and all sorts of other stuff. And these EMAs are consistently rising as we're in a bull market too. So today, if it would have hit on the week, you know, if this week would close out on Sunday at midnight or whatever, at $32,748 next week, that's probably going to be closer to, you know, 35 grand or, you know, whatever it may be. So pay attention to everything in this space. Haven't made a video in a while. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And we'll see how the legal battle with Ripple shakes out. I do not believe that XRP is a security, but paying attention to everything in this space. I will talk to you guys if there is news to present. I'm not sure if it'll be tomorrow, but it will be as soon as I am not too burnt out to make a video. All right. Bye.